Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhav ki Jai Shri Krishna Balaram ji ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki Shri Prabhupada ki Shri Gurudev ki Anant Gauri Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Ho Premanand Om Namo Bhagavate Yatra in Malampuzha, and we invite and welcome and we thank all devotees who have come from all over India and all over the world. We seek your permission, especially the senior Vaishnavas, for us to speak on the topics from Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. There is an important topic from Bhagavatam that Prabhupada spoke about, the principle of unity in diversity. And it's a very important concept in Krishna consciousness. So there is a nice verse from Srimad Bhagavatam which actually touches this point. It is in the 4th canto, 30th chapter, verse number 8. So it's 4:38. Not 38, but 30th chapter, 8th verse. So we should read that purport and understand the verse, because the verse will give us a good background and foundation before we start tomorrow's Yatra. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Varam Prididva vrinitvam badrambo Yuyam me nripanandanaha Sauhardena pritattarma Tushtoham sauhridena vaha Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Param vrinitvam badrambo Yuyam me nripanandanaha Sauhardena pritattarma Tushtoham sauhridena vaha Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Param vrinitvam badrambo Yuyam me nripanandanaha Sauhardena pritattarma Tushtoham sauhridena vaha. Maybe we have one Prabhu and one Malampuzha. Prabhus.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Varam vrinitvam badrambo Yuyam me nripanandanaha Sauhardena pritattarma Tushtoham sauhridena vaha
Tushtoham sauhridena vaha. Matajis? Anyone? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha The Supreme Personality of Godhead said Varam Benediction Vrinitvam Ask Badram Good fortune Vaha Of you Yuyam You May From me Nripanandanaha O sons of the king Sauhardena By friendship Apritam Non-different Dharmaha Occupation Tushtaha Pleased Aham I Sauhridena By friendship Vaha Of you Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear sons of the King, I am very much pleased by the friendly relationships among you. All of you are engaged in one occupation, devotional service. I am so pleased with your mutual friendship that I wish you all good fortune. Now, you may ask a benediction of me. Please hear the purport. Did anyone repeat that? Since the sons of King Prachina Bodhisattva were all united in Krishna consciousness, the Lord was very pleased with them. Each and every one of the sons of King Prachina Bodhisattva was an individual soul, but they were united in offering transcendental service to the Lord. The unity of the individual souls attempting to satisfy the Supreme Lord or rendering service to the Lord is real unity. In the material world, such unity is not possible. Even though people may officially unite, they all have different interests. In the United Nations, for instance, all the nations have their particular national ambitions, and consequently, they cannot be united. Disunity between individual souls is so strong within this material world that even in a society of Krishna consciousness, members sometimes appear disunited due to their having different opinions and leaning toward material things. Actually, in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be two opinions. Actually, in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be two opinions. There is only one goal: to serve Krishna to one's best ability. If there is some disagreement over service, such disagreement is to be taken as spiritual. If there is some disagreement over service, such disagreement is to be taken as spiritual. Those who are actually engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be disunited in any circumstance. This makes the Supreme Personality of Godhead very happy and willing to award all kinds of benedictions to his devotees, as indicated in this verse. We can see that the Lord is immediately prepared to award all benedictions to the sons of King Prachina Varisa. Jai Shri Prabhupada, Transcendental Purport Ki Jai. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanam Jana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopikaranta Radha Kanta Namostate Taptakanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahamadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gaure Tvishe Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Paditana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We want to thank Swayam Siddha Prabhu, Siddhita Mataji, the family, and all the Vaishnavas who have assembled here today. Swayam Siddha Krishna Prabhu has worked very hard to start this center. Actually, it's not a center, it's a temple. Out of nothing. And the only reason why this has come is because of one very important quality that every living entity has, but the quality that is most misused in this world, and that is desire. Our Guru Maharaj always reminded us that there is only one independent aspect of every living entity, and that is his ichcha. No one can control somebody else's desire. And very often we ourselves cannot control our own desires. This is the only part of the living entity which is truly, minutely, but truly independent. If we use it for Krishna's service, then ichcha becomes transcendental and Krishna will reciprocate. Then we become known as Bhagyavan. We are fortunate. But if we use this desire in the wrong way, and that is not to please Krishna, then whatever greatness we have materially, it has no value. So Swayam Siddha Prabhu has utilized his desire to please his spiritual master and to please Srila Prabhupada. And that is why in very short time, such an amazing place, such an amazing temple has actually come. All glories to such devotees as him and Mataji and their family. So we really want to thank them for inviting us over. This verse, background is very important. Because this verse is actually speaking about the sons of a great king known as Prachinabarhuja. And the sons were known as the Prachetas. The Prachetas, they were performing austerities. And they performed austerities for 10,000 years. We have been sitting here since 5 o'clock. And sooner or later we are going to ask the question, when is prasadam going to be served? This is already considered austerity. But Prabhupada writes in the purport before this verse that these sons, Prachetas, they were accustomed to performing great austerities. 10,000 years of doing the same thing, Prabhupada says, is not very easy. And then too, austerities. Therefore, at the end of the austerities, when they actually saw Krishna, they became very happy. And Krishna was very pleased with the austerities. But more important than the austerity, something else attracted Krishna to these sons of the king. Maharaj tells us that 2 things attracted Krishna. The first is the fact that all these sons of the king known as Prachetas, they could actually do and perform devotional service and austerity together for 10,000 years. And that is a great achievement. Krishna was very pleased that they were united in their service. Even though each and every Pracheta was actually different from the other person. They were all individuals. Their mood was different, their characters were different, their thinking was different, their attitude was different, because they are all individuals. Nobody in this room is the same as the other person, because Krishna has made all of us as individuals. So individual means our thinking is different, our attitudes are different, our characters are different, our behaviors are different. But despite all the differences, these sons of the king, they came together, and for 10,000 years they were united in only one engagement, and that is devotional service. So this is what really attracted Krishna to them, that they could cooperate and they were united, even though they were all different. This is the Vaishnava principle of unity in diversity. It does not mean that all of us must talk the same way, think the same way, and feel the same way. If that happens, then we are no longer individuals. Might as well you go to factory and we can buy all the different products, they are the same. But Krishna did not make us that way. So that is the first thing that attracted Krishna. The second thing that attracted Krishna to the Prachetas was that all of them together, unitedly, they took instructions from one personality, and that was Lord Shiva. They came across Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva then gave them a wonderful prayer, and that prayer was so beautiful that it actually was glorifying Krishna. So Lord Shiva, as the spiritual master, then initiated the Prachetas into chanting of these prayers. And that is why all these Prachetas, they came from what we call Rudra Gitena. They came from the Sampradaya of Rudra. But because Lord Shiva is the greatest and most exalted of Vaishnavas, he only wanted one thing, that they should all glorify Krishna. So these are the 2 things that attract Krishna to the living entities. 1, when we are all united. And 2, when we are united under one direction. This is very important. So this unity in diversity will work in devotional service if we put only one person in the center, and that is Krishna. Sometimes devotees also disagree. Sometimes devotees have different moods. Sometimes devotees have different needs, interests and concerns. But even if they appear to have disagreements, Bhagavatam and Prabhupada says that they must recognize that even though they may be different as individuals, but they are all dependent on only one supreme individual, and that is Krishna. This is very important. There is a difference between being an individual and being independent. This must be clear. An individual is recognized in Krishna consciousness. But independence, independent of Krishna, is discouraged in Krishna consciousness. When we don't obey the spiritual master, when we do whatever we want to do, when we don't obey the teachings of the acharyas, when we do whatever we want to do, sometimes mistakenly we say we are doing it because we are an individual, but it is mistaken. We are doing that because we are independent, falsely. Being individual doesn't mean that you cannot follow the spiritual master. But if you try to be independent of the teachings of the spiritual master, then that is very, very difficult for us to advance in devotional service. So there is a difference between individual and independence. Chetaha sarva karmani mayi sannyasam arparava buddhi yogam upasritya mat chitta satatam bhava mat chitta sarva durgani mat prasada tarisyasi atachitvam ahankaram na shoyasi vinakshasi. In the 18th chapter, these two verses tell us the direction that Krishna wants us to go. Krishna tells Arjuna that in whatever activities you do, you just be dependent on me. Your consciousness must be dependent on Krishna. Therefore, we should not be independent of Krishna. And yet, each one of the Pandavas was actually different from the other Pandava. If you read Mahabharata, you'll find each Pandava was an individual. Arjuna had his own nature. Bhima, we all know, he had his own nature. Sometimes Bhima did not always agree with Yudhishthira. And sometimes Arjuna and Bhima would think why Yudhishthira is behaving this way. And sometimes Nakula and Sahadeva, even though they were very close, they also had differences in character. So Mahabharata and Shastras tell us the uniqueness is all 5 Pandavas were different in their behavior, different in their nature, but they were united in their service. Why? Because they were having Krishna in the center. But Mahabharata also tells us that the Kauravas were 100 plus 1, 101. And if you read Mahabharata, all of them had the same character. They were all the same in behavior, same in attitude. Therefore, they were very united. But because they were envious of Krishna, their unity had no value. So diversity is not wrong. In Krishna consciousness, we celebrate diversity. We do not condemn it. This is the beauty of our movement. Why? Because Krishna himself is the fountainhead of all diversities. Krishna's qualities are so numerous that it is impossible for us to even categorize Krishna. Krishna's leelas and pastimes are so individual and so numerous and so colorful and so diverse that there is no end to his leelas. And there is no end to being ecstatic about hearing his leelas. Krishna's universes in the spiritual world are unending. And each universe is made differently from the other. No two Vaishnava in the spiritual world is the same. Every Vaishnava is different. Prabhupada himself said in Lilamrita that sometimes amongst the pure devotees there is plenty of disagreement. But there is no disagreement on the objective of why we are disagreeing. We are disagreeing, but actually, factually, there is no disagreement. Because in reality, every devotee is reaching out to Krishna in his own particular reciprocatory manner. That is the difference. So always remember the Pandavas and the Kauravas. It's very easy to remember this concept if you remember them. The important thing is, Kauravas were all the same, very nice. They were united, but the objective was to be envious of Krishna. The Pandavas were all individuals, yet they were completely dependent on Krishna, because wherever they went, Krishna was always in the center. Which is why Prabhupada says in the purport, official unity is a ritual. If there's unity of the heart, then genuinely, because Krishna is in the center, even though Vaishnavas are different, they learn to appreciate each other's differences. They learn to tolerate each other's differences. This is the greatness of Vaishnavas. In fact, Prabhupada said that the greatest austerity for our devotees in our devotional community is not to stand upside down on your head for 60,000 years. Not even for 10,000 years like the Prachetas, but simply that we should learn how to tolerate and we should learn how to cooperate with each other. This is the important. Jai and Vijay, they were the two doorkeepers in Bhagavatam. And their duty, their devotional service to Krishna, the Lord in Vaikuntha Loka, was simply to make sure that no one entered the gates whimsically. That was their duty. The Sanat Kumaras were exalted devotees of the Lord, but their mood was that of children. So when they came to the gates of Vaikuntha Loka, they just went inside because their nature was they were all children. And their mood was also the same. They also wanted to see Krishna. They also wanted to render bhajate, devotional service to Krishna. So when they were stopped by the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha Loka, there appeared to be a disagreement. The Sanat Kumaras got upset because they thought that these doorkeepers were upset. Therefore they cursed them. But after cursing them, the doorkeepers, Jai and Vijay, they understood immediately that they had not understood the real motive, the real mood of Sanat Kumaras. Sometimes as devotees, we are also in a hurry to judge other devotees. And when we do that, then two things come into our heart. One is envy and the other is criticism. Both are born from judging others. And the moment they are born in the hearts of Vaishnavas, then instead of becoming Pandava in nature, we become Kauravas. That's how sometimes we unite with another Vaishnava. Supposing two of us don't like that person, suddenly you and I become the best of friends. Because in material world, your enemy and my enemy who is common will make us the best of friends. And we bring that same baggage in the material world into the spiritual community. When that happens, there is no unity in diversity. Then it becomes United Nations. Prabhupada says in United Nations, every single envoy of every country is sitting down not because he wants to unite, but he's sitting down there to think what I can get from these people. So if each one of us came to Krishna consciousness thinking what I can get from you, then what are we going to do in terms of service? We will never serve, but we will only take. So that is why the doorkeepers and Sanat Kumaras were stopped by Krishna himself. Krishna came out and he reminded them that factually speaking, you both have come here for only one purpose. You are standing at the gate of Vaikuntha because you are devotional in nature to me. And you have come all the way through the 6 gates of Vaikuntha Loka, coming through the 7th gate, because you also wanted to render devotional service. So you both had the same objective. Now please forgive and forget. And if there's any problems, I am the one taking the blame. That is the summary of that whole episode. And because both the Sanat Kumaras and the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha Loka, they were actually reminded of why they had come in the first place to Vaikuntha Loka. Immediately they served each other. How? They both asked forgiveness from each other. And they forgot about the past. This is very important. To be united in diversity, we should appreciate, not criticize. We should glorify, not condemn. And the best way to glorify the devotees is always to see the hand of Krishna. There is this beautiful verse, isn't it, in the 2nd canto, 4th chapter, 15th verse. Yat kirtanam, yat smaranam, yat ikshanam, yat vandanam, yat shravanam, yat arhanam, lokasya sadya vidunoti kalmasam tasmai subhadra shravase namo namaha. This is the way to actually become united in diversity. Then we start by glorification of Krishna. If we try to glorify ourselves, then we will never be united. But if we glorify Krishna, then we become united. When devotees come together and talk about anything and everything except Krishna, then Kunti Mata says, Bhutanam yanmitaha kaliki. There will be social intercourse. So please remember this formula. First, individual does not mean independent. The more we become dependent on Krishna, the more we become an individual in Krishna consciousness. The third thing that's very important is another I. Individual, independent, and the third one is that we should avoid the intimacy. In material world, everyone wants to be intimate with each other. And you know, in material world, the moment you become too close with someone, you'll end up fighting. Because you take each other for granted. After a while, that's why all the fighting happens or starts in the world with the husband and wife. Isn't it? Because whatever the husband may be sitting on Vyasasan, talking very big Bhagavatam, at the end of the day, our Guru Maharaj always said, when he goes home, his wife will say, I know who you are. I know what you do at home. So familiarity, intimacy is very dangerous in Krishna consciousness. When we are intimate with each other, we are not intimate with Krishna. We forget Krishna. And then familiarity, Prabhupada says, breeds contempt. That's why there is a very nice formula given in Krishna consciousness. Good neighbors build strong fences. I asked Guru Maharaj one time where this came from. And he said, in the olden days, when we had a neighbor across our farm, he had cows, we had cows. So we've just moved into the farmhouse, they have moved into their house. We want to keep the nice relations. But if his cows come into my patch, my cows go into his patch, then he'll get upset and I'll get upset because we are growing the crops and they are being eaten by the cows. So before that happens, before we move in, we both build very strong fences across the houses. In the Western world, they say if you build fences, that means you are not being a good neighbor. That's why in Western world you don't see fences. But what happens in the Western world also we know. Without the fences, the crime rates are right at the top. But in India and in traditional places, the fences come up first. Why? Because once the fences come up, the cows know their place. We know where the cows are. And therefore, if supposing somebody say, look, my grass patch was eaten, we can tell the neighbor, there's a fence. There's no breach in the fence. It cannot be my cows. And in that way, Maharaj said, the relationship is maintained. And in that way, while we start far, we become close gradually. And it is closeness which is built on respect, love and service. That is Vaishnava philosophy. That we don't become the friends and forget Krishna. Because without Krishna, anything that appears to have value, Videritam yat pratyeta na pratyeta charyanita, vidvan atmamayam yatha vaso yatha tamaha. Anything that looks very valuable, if it has no Krishna, it has no value. This beautiful temple is beautiful because we have the deities, because we have Prabhupada, because we have all the Vaishnavas. But the moment this place becomes something else which is material, then it loses its luster. So we should never forget that while we are always serving each other, when we put Krishna in the center, whatever disagreements Prabhupada writes in the purport, they will be seen as spiritual. They will not be taken very seriously. That's why whenever Vaishnavas also disagree, we should not take it too much to heart. Prabhupada writes in the purport. Prabhupada writes in the purport of that episode of Sanat Kumaras and the Vaikuntha, the Jai and Vijay. He says that we should not take too seriously when there appears to be disagreement between Vaishnavas. This is an important point for us to read. And the last point that's very important in this area is that only we can glorify Krishna if we have the theistic conduct towards Krishna. Very often we don't realize unity in diversity can only come when there is devotional service to the Lord. When our devotional service to Krishna is fixed, then our relationships between Vaishnavas automatically become fixed. The sadhana that we have protects us from disagreements. The sadhanas we have, even if we disagree, will give us the transcendental knowledge to transcend the material thing. But that can only come when we accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is one very important point that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj brought up. It is found in the purport to Brahma Samhita, and it is in the 5th verse. It is in the 5th chapter, 27th verse. I have written it down because that time Maharaj told me to write it, and he was speaking about this verse. So this is very nice point. Those whose judgment is made of mundane stuff, being unable to enter into the spirit of the all-loving controversies among pure devotees, due to their own want of unalloyed devotion, are apt to impute to the devotees their own defects of partisans and opposing views. Now, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj's English is very, very high. In simple language, what he's saying is, when we are not fixed in Krishna consciousness, then what happens is, we become separatists in our heart. Then, because we always find the fault and defects, and we always try to find the divisions, and we divide, and we have politics, we put this on other people, and we say, you are that, you are this. That's why there's a famous saying, it takes a thief to know another thief, isn't it? Only a thief can really know another thief. So when we look and see the faults of others, the real reason why we can see the faults, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj says, is because of two things. One, we don't have bhakti in our heart. Our heart is full of criticisms. That's why we are disturbed. And because there's no bhakti in the heart, and there's only criticism, we are only seeing everything along the lines of criticism. And we cannot understand that even though devotees are individuals, they are united in Krishna consciousness. And they don't have any independence from the Lord. And they always serve Him. So this can only come through theistic conduct. And a nice point can be brought up here. The word Amogha Leela is very important. When you do devotional service, you come in contact with Krishna. And Krishna's quality is known as Amogha Leela. Amogha Leela means one who is spotless, one who is completely pure. But if you read the first canto, 3rd chapter, 36th verse, in that purport, Prabhupada describes Amogha Leela very beautifully. He says Amogha Leela means one who is not disturbed. Krishna is never disturbed. And Prabhupada writes there that another important thing about Krishna is that he's not disturbed, he's Amogha Leela, because there is nothing lamentable in his creation. Beautiful point. There is nothing in this creation that actually gives us misery, provided we are with Krishna. If we are with Krishna, then whatever difficulties there are, even if we appear disunited, we will see Krishna in the center and we will work together. But if we cannot see Krishna, then we will also lament. We will become disturbed. So in the purport, Prabhupada very nicely writes, those who create disturbance in this creation, they themselves become disturbed. Very important point. The Prachetas never created any disturbance for each other. 10,000 years they survived with each other. For us, 2 days if we can survive with each other is very good. Isn't it? It's very difficult to live with each other in Kali Yuga. But the Prachetas, 10,000 years. Why? Because they only had one objective, Krishna. So this is what we must do. Learn to respect that everyone is different, but see the hand of Krishna and try to find how each person has strength to give to Krishna. Try to find the good qualities of the devotees, of the living entities. Krishna's nature is that he can take nectar from a stalk of poison. That is Krishna's nature. So in the same way, we are followers of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. we should also tolerate and always be united in one single service. And supposing we are agitated, supposing we think there is a difference, supposing we are fighting with each other, then please do not blame Krishna. Krishna is Amoga Leela. Don't blame the devotional service. Devotional service never creates disturbance. When we fight or when we are disturbed, it is the sure sign that our devotional service to Krishna is lacking. Not any other reason. It is only our sadhana. Our sadhana bhakti is not up to the mark, and therefore we are disturbed. We throw this disturbance on others, others become disturbed, and then the whole atmosphere becomes Kaurava atmosphere, not Pandava atmosphere. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Srila Gurudev ki. Ananta Kodi Vaishnavita ki. Jai Gaur
Please Devakinandan Prabhuji ki.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki. You all must be